I don't think there's one right way to be creative. Stick with me for a second. I've read a couple of different books about creativity. The two I've found that are in opposition to each other in regards to their philosophies are Invisible Ink by Brian McDonald and Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. In Invisible Ink, Brian's argument is that storytelling and making art are a necessity, that it's a calling that one has to honor, regardless of how much you are paid for it. And in Big Magic, Elizabeth Gilbert argues that no, in fact, art should be frivolous, that art and art making should never have profound, deep meaning, that it's okay to not, in fact, change lives. At least, not just your own. Gilbert also makes the argument that creative endeavors should never be the main means of paying your bills. And it's this point that I want to address more than anything else. Because I feel like creative endeavors and making a living with your creativity is not an either or, it's a yes and. Let me explain. I went fully self-employed from September 2022 to February 2023. I took that time to focus on conventions, making comics, and booking new art-making gigs. And I'm so grateful I got the time to do that. That time came to an end in the middle of February because of one simple fact. I needed to aggressively save money for moving to a new place in a short time frame, and self-employment was not going to get me the funding I needed fast enough. I'm here to tell you what I've discovered as someone who worked on their art full-time, then picked up a full-time job doing something else, and having to make art a part-time endeavor. I have not noticed a difference in my creative output. Wild, I know. There's this idea in pop culture that taking a full-time job is soul-crushing for a creative person. I mean, it's applied to people generally, but especially for creatives. That a full-time job doing something else would positively drain them of any energy. That an artist needs to work on only being a full-time creative, even if it means starving to death for it. There's also a stigma in art circles against people who don't have a full-time job doing something else. There's this idea that it's healthier to work full-time in a totally different industry, and not just because the job would offer benefits. Though in this economy, finding a full-time job with benefits is rare. The gig economy can go fuck itself, but that's a topic for a different day. I've found there are two different types of vibes if you tell anyone you work full-time on your creative endeavors. Either the person will say, "Oh, that's so lucky. You must be so scared to do it, though. How do you handle health insurance or retirement savings, etc.?" Or they'll ask you, indirectly or not, if there's a wealthy spouse or an inheritance involved. The other vibes I've noticed are, if you're working full-time on your own creative work, that people expect the work you do to be profound or life-changing, or if it isn't that you've sold out, making only the things that would make you money right away. Honestly, being a worker in the creative industry has a lot of shitty expectations attached to it. So, I've done working full-time on my art. I've done working full-time at an office job, and working on art as a part-time endeavor. And what have I noticed? The only thing that's changed is how much time I spend out of my home. My creative output is still the same. Where I put my focus is still the same. The difference is the office job is helping me save up money for a deposit on the new place faster than DoorDash or Instacart could ever hope to achieve. Again, fuck the gig economy. So all of that said, there is no right way to be creative. If you're able to work full-time on your creative endeavors, that's cool. If you work full-time doing something else and make art outside of that job, that's cool too. One is not more correct than the other. Money is a resource that's always in flux, so just trust your gut and do what's best for you. Also, screw anyone who tries to tell you you have to do X or Y to be considered a valid working creative. Those people are trying to tell you something, and it's more than likely bullshit. That's all I've got for now. Thanks for listening.